All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is September 1st, 2018, and this is a Saturday morning webinar, and the title of today's webinar is How to See Exact Trades in Real Time. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, what I did is I went ahead and pulled up a chart like Russell to give an example of the time of morning that I basically get up. You know, a lot of mornings I'll go ahead and get up around 5:30 Central Time, maybe 6 o'clock, okay? And what you've got to do when you get ready to trade each and every day is you've got to see the trades on the chart, what's setting up, and you've got to be ready to take that trade when it gets ready to fire, okay? And keeping in mind that you always want to trade with the trend, you know, that's the most important, is trading with the trend. And that trend is basically identified by that mid band. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't take a little quicker trade. For instance, when it goes above mid band, makes, you know, like a three-way type of higher highs, higher lows and everything. To give an example, like this trade right here, if you would have been watching this, you know, this basically had a low, a high, a higher low, and then it even took out this high. So when this actually retraced like into this phantom, that was a nice little 10-tick trade. And that's a trade that we've got a nice little video on right now that's about 17 minutes long. And if you go by the rules on it, it works out pretty well. Let me just go over it real quick so that we can see what's involved with it, okay? What you want to basically do is you want to go from one color mid-band to the next. You're looking for the first phantom. And by the way, if you actually look for the zigzag to go back, you never get it fired on this particular one. Then it went to the mid-band that was this color. There's your first phantom right there. It ratcheted down. You got another phantom here. Okay? So, and keep in mind that this is then the other way, this phantom right here. And now what would we be looking for? Anybody? Would be looking for the phantom with this side of the trade, which is the short side, or mid-band trade. And today's webinar is going to be teaching a little bit more about how to see exactly where that trade should hit its head. Okay? And what I always do is I like to look to the left to trade the right. Okay? I look at swings. For instance, I'll draw a line right across here, and I'll draw a line right across here. And you can clearly see that that is your area that should hit its head on a pullback. And amazingly, that's also at mid-band. So, you know, if you were trading this trade, you'd first diagnose it. You know that you're heading down. You've got your mid-band going down, okay? We don't want to go taking out, you know, higher swings, to give an example. So if this was to decide to go up and not take this one out, I'd still be looking for a phantom type trade, okay? But one thing that you can pretty much count on, and I think it works a lot, is when it breaks down and you get that first time into mid-band. You know, that can be a very, very good trade, okay? So keep in mind that your mid-band trade, you know, is going to be around 80–85% probability, you know, if you trade it right, you know, first time after trend change. If it ratchets, then you can trade it again. If it ratchets, you can trade it again, but I'd start being careful after that second time, okay? Because, you know, markets don't go up or down forever, do they? You know, here's an example right here. You know, you had a mid-band trade. It didn't ratchet down, pardon me, it didn't roll over until way up here at this phantom if you were using lightning, right? So you got your trade roughly in this area right here, okay? and then you had another one, and that's right here. Now notice that you had basically two, and then even this third one worked, but see how you didn't come down on this one right here, so you got this higher low. So then you were looking for your longs, which you got, and now you're looking for your shorts. And it's really that easy to look at your charts and see. Now, let's see if we diagnose this chart correctly. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? I'm going to go ahead and draw lightning on here. Let's draw lightning 2 first off. That's good enough. Does everybody see that I did that without seeing the lightning? But we do know where the lightning is. See here where lightning is and lightning is. So that's looking to the left to trade the right. I've got a little line here and I got a line here. And more than likely my sweet spot is going to be in between these lines. Okay? And then we just got to be ready to take the trade. Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Gary. So you feel safe taking the short even though support is to the left hit? Well, keep in mind that, Mindy, on your question, that what you're looking at, the overall trend is to the downside. You know, you had this huge thrust, retrace, like an ABC Gartley type move and then rolled over again. So yeah, I'd feel good about taking that one. Yeah. But keep in mind that just like any trade, it could go against you. Let's try it and see. I wasn't up quite at this time, but I did see some good trades on Russell. Let's just see if this works. I'll go ahead and get Object Trader up. Hopefully I'll get Object Trader up. There we go. And we'll do it in replay mode, and I've got a total of no more than 5, which is fine. We'll go with that. All right, now there's several ways that you can actually take this trade, okay? Now, if you're going to use like a trend line type, then you need like an ABC type move so that you can actually draw your trend line correctly, okay? If you are looking more for, you know, boxing it in, a rollover type trade, you know, I'm actually looking for this trade, and even predictors telling me that my trade should be right here. And, you know, it can come up a little higher because we've got our looking to the left to trade the right. We've got a swing here that has not been checked, and we've got a swing here that has not been checked. Everybody see that it's not been checked. That's really important, because what it means when it hadn't been checked is, you know, for instance, if you see this one went up higher and it basically checked a little closer to mid-band, like in this area here. See where this wicked candle is? So this has not been checked here, and this has not been checked here. And that's what you really want to look for, is where the check has been made. Okay? Because when the check has been made, then more than likely you're good for the next level. You see what I mean? That way you can look for, you know, a better trade to the downside, to give an example, with a lower swing. And you notice when we draw these lines on the charts in the room, we're pretty accurate on it too. So let's just see. I got up actually at about 6:30 on Friday, so this is fair. I wasn't up. Let's just start it up and see if we can get a trade. I'll go at about 10 times, and we'll see if we can get something. Now, like I said, there's several ways to take this trade, okay? Now, what I personally like to do is I like to watch the lightning. You know, for instance, this is green right now, okay? It's not even moving, as a matter of fact. There it goes, okay? Now, see how you're getting a low, a high, a little higher low, but we haven't taken out this swing yet? So there's not a way for me to draw that trend line just yet, right? Because I've got to take out this swing. In other words, I've got to do this. I've got to get my little thrust. It did take out the one to the left. I got to get my little pullback, and then hopefully a little bit more of a thrust up again, so that we can actually identify our trend line. Let's see if we can get it. That's at 10 times, and that's still slow. It's not a higher low just yet, Lewis, but what you're looking at, there you go, okay? Now look at this right here. See, you have a thrust, a retrace. Keep in mind, we're talking about lightning, literally lightning 1 on this deal right here. I'll draw it for you. Alt key if it's going to even draw sometime. There it goes. All right. So see how that went thrust up, retrace, because lightning 1 is only looking for that little retrace. In other words, you're going up, you have a candle go down, it's going to draw lightning, okay? As long as it takes out that top, it'll draw that lightning, okay? Now, if this was to go with a candle down, for instance, a candle up and make a lower high and then break, it'll even draw it again, okay? But see, right now, you can clearly see that we could draw like a little trend line along those lows, okay, like that. Now, that would be actually what I'd consider a little bit more of a conservative trade, okay, because in other words, it would have to break that trend line to get me triggered on this trade, okay? And by the way, you can use the tool on here called wedge, and we're looking for shorts, right? So we'd actually be looking for, I usually like to do like a touch instead, and we'll do, let's see, it's Russell, so we'll do 3. All right. Now, to me, I would probably fire 1 if it touches my line up here and starts to roll over, because we've already diagnosed the chart. We know it's going to hit its head here or here, okay? Or if it takes this out, guess what? We're not heading down anymore on the left-hand side of the chart, because that's our identified swing, okay? So you could also be looking for this. You could be looking for a break of here. Hopefully it would break even here, because that's the only way you're going to see that it's going to change directions. It has to break that, and then it would come back and, you know, pretty much kiss like mid-band or this swing here or even this swing here. Looking to the left, trade to right. There's swing 1, there's swing 2. So I'd be looking for, you know, for instance, if it was to decide to break up, a pullback into this little area here and then pop up. That's pretty much what I'd be looking at if they decide to break up. Okay, but we'd get a phantom trade in the meantime, wouldn't we? More than likely, because it would check resistance, roll over, then kiss midband, and then take off. Okay, but it has broken support. See your high, your low, lower high, lower low. So we are breaking down. We changed trend directions. Okay, so we're looking for this little trade. Now, I'm going to do it a little bit more aggressively, and I'm going to, if it happens to go up here to this line, I'm going to click 1 contract, and then I'm going to turn my wedge back on. Let's see if we can get something. Got it going about 30 times. Hopefully that's not too fast. That's pretty fast. We didn't get our wedge. Why didn't we get our wedge? Oh, I know why. I drew it before I turned it on. Let me get rid of the wedge just real quick. One thing about it, when you're playing with market replay and everything, and you turn it to pause and different things like that, you'll stop Object Trader from working correctly. So that's what I did. I'll go ahead and do a region instead. All right, let's see if we can get a region. We'll draw it right where it needs to be. And I'd like to even take it, well, we already got it. And then I'd turn it back on, see if we can get another one. By the way, you can even chase that if you want to. Keep in mind that this region is actually an active deal. See how I just got 2? Because it broke that swing, right? That's why I did that. Now, what if I wanted to add another one? Okay, let me show you something that you can do. Now keep in mind, you could go ahead and take some profit because that's a $100 bill, right? Okay, but you can also clearly see that if they break here and come back and kiss it, that you could probably, you know, if this breaks here and comes back and kisses, you could go ahead and add one, couldn't you? I'll go ahead and bring my break almost to break even. Does everybody see how that was diagnosed in real time to do that? That's just definitely not a bad way to trade. Okay, let's diagnose it again. Let's just pretend you're not in anything just yet. All right, let's see if we can diagnose it in real time, because that's what the webinar is about. All right, so I'm looking at Lightning 2 swing is here. All right, they've technically checked it on this side of it. We didn't add one, by the way, but let's see if we can figure out where this is coming back to. We got a swing right across here, got a swing right across here. So this is basically a little sweet spot area that I'd be looking for a trade again. All right, so let's see if we can get something. We'll go right there. And if this goes up at all and kisses, we'll go ahead and take one more contract. Now keep in mind that on the B bottom, the bottom of this thing, I'm looking at this one, out, touch plus like 2 to give an example. Okay, that means that if it gets within 2 ticks of that and then rolls over, or 2 ticks of that top, see, it already fired, but I could even do it at the top if I wanted to. See if it'll hit that little swing. If not, we're good. Didn't quite get there, did it? Missed it by 1 tick, it looks like to me. It'll get it if it goes out the outside of it, though. If I turn this on. And see, there's a total of 4 now. Pardon me just 1 second. Everybody see how these things constantly do this all day long? They thrust and then they retrace into your areas. If you draw lightning on your charts, you're going to find out they do that an awful lot. And you can make good money trading it simply because they do that. Now let me show you another one that we like to teach, if we can get this. I don't know if we'll get it now. I think we just barely missed it right there. See where that kissed stealth in line 2? It didn't break stealth, so that's a little bit more dangerous trade. This was a lot better trade up here. But notice how I had my box drawn exactly where the trade went. That's how we do that in that room every day, as we diagnose our charts. We draw on them, and we know where those little boxes should be. And by the way, if you were in like 4 right now, couldn't you just simply take off, well, let's just see. We'll just write it with lightning. Lightning 1 is red, so I'll turn on lightning 1 to be green and take off 3. If we happen to break lightning. And you could also obviously move your targets, because you're writing lightning. Everybody see that? Just go ahead and move these out of the way. Well, we got one of them. And then we're going to change that to 2. Everybody see where lightning would be? See where lightning is right now? It's right there. Now, if we were to get a candle up, okay, which we're getting, see there, candle up. If we get a candle down, there it is. There's your lightning again. Watch that turn green. Nope, didn't get it. Okay, let's see if we can go lower. There's a candle up. There's a candle down. There's your lightning. Now that's might be yeah, there you go. You just got, I forgot to turn that on then though, didn't I? So we didn't get taken out. If that takes this little swing out, I'm going to take them all off. That's good enough for me. See there? You broke. Okay? And you got you a nice little trade. Now let's diagnose our chart. Where do you think this thing's going? Anybody? I'm going to show you a little trick where you don't have to know that mid-band is going to be your next trade or where it's going to be. Because anybody see this right now? Swing. Swing. Isn't that a little higher than mid-band? So here's your sweet spot. Right in that area right there. Why is it in that area right there, anybody? Because when they retrace, they'll go back and check these swings, looking to the left to trade the right. And you'll more than likely get that trade. You want to try it and see if we can get? Let's just close this out totally, and let's see if we can get this trade too. I'll do a Well, as a matter of fact, if they kiss that right there, I'll just fire a market order. All right. If they kiss this right here, though, I'm going to box it because that would be a mid-band trade. This would be a little deeper by going to the second swing. So let's see if we can get something like that. Now you could start boxing this in right here, right? Because it just kissed. Okay, there you go. There you go. I just missed it. Doggone it. Everybody see it? It hit just exactly where I said it would. And if it pops back above mid-band, I would close it out. Like that. See it? Took out that mid-band right there. And there's another trade, by the way, setting up for, well, we didn't quite get there, did we? I'll take one more. That's it right there. That's a phantom. See it right there at line 6? All right, notice how in real time we were able to diagnose our chart. And what did it do? It hit this one here. This was double tapped, so a lot of times they'll check it twice if they double tap it. See how this was checked? Checked again. And when you see that, you'll see them try to hit it twice, to give an example. Okay, now let me show you a more conservative way to take this, because a conservative way would be, we're already in it, but I'll show you a more conservative way that you could have taken it. It's going to be okay. See why I'm doing that, right? Because I've got a swing right there to the left. And what does everybody see on this chart right now? Anybody see a possibility of a trend change? You know why? We called this out. Yeah, the green stealth is really screaming. You're exactly right on that. And I watch for that. A lot of our people watch for that. Let me kill this and I'll show you how to have taken this trade a little bit more conservatively. Now, if you were looking in real time and you wanted to just get like 10 ticks, to give an example, see when it hit this little area over here that it had not checked yet? Well, if you would have shorted that immediately, that's a 10-tick trade. 2 contracts, that's a $100 bill. All right. Then it kissed this one that was right over here. See here? And that gave you 10 ticks, but gave you a little heat first, okay? And you still got your 10 ticks. So there's another $100. Okay? Now looking to the left to trade the right, see you've got this one, and you have this one right here. Like so. Now notice that they also checked that one. See there? So that's why you'll see like 2 or 3 lines always on our charts. Okay, let's see. Would you take this at mid-band now? Well, like to take a mid-band trade when it already did a phantom? No. No. Now what I'd be looking for, let me show you what I'd be looking for real quick. If this was to break, I'd be looking, because see, we're already at the point, we're in real time, so we can't do something back here now because we already did. So I would be looking for this trade right here. Either a breakdown below support, come back and kiss, and roll. And on the upside of it, I'd be looking for, well, as a matter of fact, it's already doing it. You can see it. See if you draw a trend line. See your low, your high, your higher low, and your higher high. They're starting to change trends on this. They're starting to try to take these out. Now, this is that trade that we talked about on Friday, I believe. We'll find out here in just a minute. See how it just broke that trend line? Now, I'd probably go ahead and grab that, actually, and quicker than that, right under here. But let's just go ahead and do it there. That's fine. All right. Now, let me show you something else so that you'll know exactly what to look for, okay? You're going to want to always look to the left to trade the right. That's something I just stress all the time. I'm going to get rid of some of this lightning. Let's get rid of some of the lightning. All right, let's look here, and let's get rid of these lines. And now our left side is over here, so I'm going to draw a line right on top of that swing. And we're also here. You know, we're already long, but could anybody see that more than likely, if you thrust up, change everything green, or break this swing here, that you'd be looking for a pullback? Let's see if it does it. Now, when they break support like they're doing right here, now, if you weren't in that, see how that's kissing this area right here that it just took out? Now, this would be super aggressive. This would be less aggressive down here. Everybody see that? But they don't always give it to you. So let's say, for instance, that if this was to decide to just kiss here and I was to go long two, okay, let's say that I just got up at like 6:30 and that's what was happening. Notice how I drew my lines. Now, if this was to decide not to do what I want it to do, then I'd get out of the trade quickly because, see, that's red right now, but it's just trying to kiss that swing. So couldn't you, if you decided to get in that trade, put it to where you're not going to lose very much at all if they decide to come back deeper or right here or even here? Now, that would be more chasing a trade right there. This is where your trade was, and we called this in the room on Friday, right across here. Everybody remember that? But one of our other people's favorite tools too is, look at this, thrust, retrace, thrust, and you just simply draw a trend line. See there where it got you in? It's basically like getting out of that box. This would have also changed to green at that time because this would have been heading down, and then what did you get right down here? You got a candle with an up, a candle with a down, candle with a up with a higher low. All it takes for that to trigger to green is to break that right there with that bar. Everybody see that? Like I say, this is a pretty cool way to trade. Now, what I'm going to ask y'all to look for is, let's say that you just missed this trade entirely and you're going to try to get it on a pullback. Okay, let's see if we can get it on a pullback. Well, now you know we've got a green background now, so let's see if we can diagnose this in real time. And let's just pretend you're sitting there like a deer in the headlights. You missed the trade entirely. Okay, let's just watch it and see what happens. Because you got to wait for a thrust and a pullback, right? Let's see if we can get a thrust first. There's another kiss, by the way. There's a little bit of a thrust. Anybody see the trade? I'm going to draw two places. Right now, that's my little sweet spot right there. Everybody see that? Let's see if we can get one. I'm going to fast forward it. We may not get it with the deal, but I'll see if it'll come right into that box. Oh, I just missed it. That's good enough. Just kissed it again. Put my stop nice and tight just in case with exit on close. Everybody see that? I drew my line on my chart. Now keep in mind, this did not break my stealth. Okay, but I diagnosed my chart in real time, and I call this like a kiss trade myself, because to me, that's actually kissing at that point. All right, and as a good trader, what you can actually do is you can do like I do with the power meter. Just go ahead and use your PMI to get PMI. That's mortgage insurance. PM power meter to take the trade off the table. So we've got two on. If we wanted to take two off, we just simply go power meter 1. Does anybody see where it would be at this time? You have a candle, okay? It would have to break here. Now it would have to break pretty much here if this closes. See that? See if we get it now. Now it would have to pretty much break here. See the high, the low, the lower high. Now it's going to be higher. That's fine. But notice you don't have to do all this though, because our tools will do it for you. Watch for a little pullback. There's a little pullback. Everybody see that? Just got taken out of the trade. Now, let's diagnose our chart real time. I'm going to pause this for just a second. Hope it doesn't mess everything up, because this is a teaching webinar. You know, we traded this on Friday and you heard the calls. All right, so bear with me a second. Okay, let's draw on our chart again. All right, we know we're looking at mid-band trades and we're looking at our phantom type trades. Now, does anybody see why a phantom trade would not more than likely happen now? You got to look at this, because see, your high, your low, your higher high. If they take that out, they're not going to be heading up. So phantom's way down here. So that's probably not going to happen. See, because they've already checked this swing here. We already found that out. They checked this one here. We already found that out. We drew on our chart. So if you look here, you had a thrust, retrace, thrust. So I've got a little swing here and a little swing right there. And that would be my sweet spot on a pullback. Anybody see that in real time? That's what you got to train yourself. You got to train your third eye to see. Okay, that's the whole reason that we use these 4-range bars to begin with. Does everybody see? Let's go through this real slow so everybody can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take the lines off the chart. All right, let's go just a little bit at a time. Okay, remember when we broke up, you had a swing, thrust, retrace, thrust, pulls back, holds support, breaks. So you draw your line, and lo and behold, it went up and it came right to it. Everybody see that? Now what about this next one? Thrusts up. So if you were looking at this in real time, you'd be looking like this. You'd draw a line. Okay, you'd watch it. See how that comes right to that line? See how perfect that is? That's so amazingly perfect that I really think that as long as these traders in New York with their $150 million algorithm programs that they've paid for, you know, this is basically the way they do this and take profit all day long. They've got high frequency type trading that goes on in like a 4-range bar. They can take, you know, 20 trades in a 4-range bar sometimes. I'm sure they can with that same algorithm. Because in the scheme of things, even that's going to be zigzagging back and forth. Okay, now we won't try to get into that because I think that'd be beyond anything I could explain. But everybody see how you can clearly see? Now look, you thrust up, so you draw your line. You got your line right on top of here. I've also got a little swing right across here. Looking to the left, trade the right. All right, that's your thrust. Now, see where I drew my box ahead of time? See there? So now, if this is going to break down, obviously, we're not going to get the trade. Okay, but let's see in real time if we can actually nab that trade. It's right at our line, isn't it? There you go. Sorry about that. We get phone calls all day long. Look at that. Now, how can you get any better than doing that? And keep in mind, it does it the exact same way when it's going down, too. Okay? And the reason that we draw a couple of lines and even sometimes 3 lines on a chart is so that a person can actually take that trade. Now, if you're a little bit more into conservative trade, keep in mind that you may not get 10-tick trades. Okay, because when I draw those lines on those charts, and we call this trade in the room, like let's say, for instance, I say I'm going to go on a bar close, or we box this in even, okay? If you box this in like right across here, all right, and notice that that one wicked, so then you rebox it like that, you're not getting in until that bar. That I don't personally like, because to me, that's getting in too late. Now, granted, if this continues heading up, that's fine. But where would your stop be right now? Anybody? Anybody? Well, if you were in this trade, let's just write it and let's just see. Let's pretend we're in it. We'll do some woulda, coulda, shoulda bucks. Didn't close above yet, so that's your swing. There, it closed above. So that one's okay. Now this one should get okay. There, it's okay. Everybody see that? You got a low, high, higher, low. Need a higher high again. Then you bring it there. Just took you out. Everybody see why that got taken out there? That trade got called exactly like that on Friday too, except it was line 6. But notice how you can actually get out of a trade a little better by just simply training your eye to see these swings. You know, for instance, right here, when this was heading up, heading up, heading up, heading up, heading up, you know, when does it actually start breaking? Well, you've got to just watch your thrust, your retrace, your thrust, put your line. Thrust again, line holds, thrust again. You see what I mean? And then when you finally get taken out, see this one right here, where you finally got taken out of this one, what did it start doing? It started breaking these swings. You could have been out on that bar and back in down here, right where I drew that box. Let's see, what I don't understand is why no phantom isn't lightning there lower. You don't always get a phantom, Mindy, on every single trade. You will before it changes trends. You want to see what it did like afterwards? Let's just diagnose our chart and see if we can trade this again. All right, so let's diagnose our charts like we're just walking in for the first time of the day. All right, you have lightning, 1, 2, 3, took out, so it ratcheted. So this right here would be where I would be breaking down, right? If we break down, that's where I'd break down. Okay, so here's what I'd be looking for right here. We need a bar, you know, we need to actually start stair stepping back so that we can box it. Okay, now keep in mind that when this does this right here, that pretty much double topped. So when I see that, and by the way, I called that out in real time in the room on Friday, remember? We said that this is not your identified swing, okay? But that is support. So if they were to break that, then they would be breaking lightning 3. Look what, draw it on your chart. Okay, there's your lightning 3 right here. Okay, right where I drew my box. So let me ask you a quick question. If this phantom were to work on here, would it break that swing right there? And the answer is no. Now, looking to the left to trade the right on the minor, we've already checked it. Where have they not checked on the larger term? You know, in other words, like if they were to do like this. Look back to the left again and draw your lines. And right here would be more than likely where if they do decide to head back up at all, they would probably bounce. Everybody see that? Okay, let's see if they did that. I don't know if they did or not, but let's just see if we can get a phantom. But if it actually breaks, if it doesn't head up and give our phantom higher than our lightning 3, I don't really like those phantoms. Let's see if we get it. Looks like it's going to break. Double red stealth. Okay, now see, that broke that. Now, actually, more than likely, I'd probably be looking at a trade right in through here off of that Phantom 1, and I called that on Friday, remember? but you'd already had to have been in it. You can't chase it now. It's already up. Remember I called that line 1? We called it right there in the room on line 1. Now, does that mean it's going to continue going up? No, because it broke support. So you draw your lines on your chart, and we're going to see, look to the left, that line right there, look to the left. When they wick like this, it's a little tougher because that's all wicks. So usually what I do is get as close to the bodies as I can. And if it's too close to the other, I go ahead and use the wick, like that. Okay, so if it hits its head there and rolls, then more than likely it's going to be a short. If you're a gutsy trader, you know, looking to the left, trade the right. See there? It just did short. Everybody see that? It kissed resistance. I'd put my stop really tight though. Now that's an exact trade that Charles and I teach right there too. What did it do? It did a high, low, lower high, lower low. So it actually broke, and then even lower low. So what did it do? It kissed resistance right there on the left. Now that's, like I say, a little bit of a risky trade, but not that risky, simply because, you know, if Phantom doesn't get all the way up to that mid band and they hit resistance and roll over, that's when you want to protect your Phantom coin. Okay? Let's see if this trade worked out. I'm going to leave that stop there just in case. If we get taken out, we just get taken out. That's all there is to it. Kissing resistance again. A little lower high. Everybody see that? High, low, lower high. Just on the micro move. Now let me ask you, with that red background, what kind of trade are you going to be starting to think about looking for anyway? Shorts. But our midband is still yellow. So that's a transition time. Look at that. We got a decent little trade. Turn on power meter, long, get out of the last one. Who wants to diagnose their chart now? Let's see if we can, if we get taken out at all. We'll find out. Right here, if that closes, it will turn green. Didn't close. If it closes, it'll turn green. Out, flat. All right, now let's diagnose our chart again. Now we've got a mid-band that is magenta. Isn't this the same trade we did over here? Pretty much. Over here. So let's see if we can get another trade. All right, let's diagnose our chart. Predictor says right here, let's look to the left and see why Predictor figured that out. It's pretty much a swing, isn't it, right here, except it's right there in my opinion, right there. Predictor's off by a tick. All right, so if we're going to head down, what does everybody see on here on this chart? You need a lower high than this right here, don't you? So this would be my little sweet spot for a short trade. Why am I getting multiple stops when I enter a trade, Jay? Because I'm using exit on close. Exit on close is a really cool feature on Object Trader. I'm going to go ahead and try that. That's a lower high. And I'm going to put my stop nice and tight on this. I'm going to put it just above this swing here. Exit on close. And if it gets me, it gets me. You might get it. Now, are they changing trends, anybody yet? No, not yet. Well, that's close. It almost got me. If we get a green stealth, I may kill this anyway. See if it works. Wow, that's slow. Let's speed it up a little bit. Still okay. This is why I use that, Jay. See that? Where that wick that's called exit on close. Now I'll put my stop just above the little wick. See, because what they do is when they wick a stop like that, they were trying to get you at that swing. They couldn't do it with exit on close. Okay, notice how it touched my line, but it didn't take it out. Now, that's a good way to actually use this little tool. Now, keep in mind, we're red right now because I got in a little bit early, simply because I was looking at a lower high. And when it rolled over here, I went ahead and grabbed it. Okay, but let's just see if we can stay in the trade. Now, this makes me a little more nervous when they start trying to take out swings. So I look to the left to see where my swings are. I don't see any. So I'm going to look here for some profit, see a little swing, and I'm going to look here for some profit. Okay, so let's just go ahead and bring, we'll just try to get break even on that one, and I'm going to try to get that right there. We'll see if we can get it. What does anybody think? Is this actually trying to head up? What do you think? I got my stop in perfect, so if it takes it, it takes it. You know, that's the way you've got to trade, you know, because keep in mind that if I just hit the close button on here, like right now, I'm actually down on this trade a little bit. I got a tad on the aggressive side because I tried to get a lower high, and they actually made a little higher high than over here. Okay, but they didn't make a higher high than this one, and that's actually your secondary swing. See if this works. Keep in mind with exit on close, if it wicks it, it still won't take it. Meandering. This is what we talk about all the time in that room. Sometimes they just go slow. I'll speed it up. That's one thing about market replay that you can do. See how that wicked that? Now I would put my stop right at the wick again. The reason for that is because the bodies are holding. There we go. There we go. We broke a little bit. There we go. We just got us a trade. Everybody see how I did that? Now notice what I did is, okay, I wanted to get in aggressively, so I saw this swing right here, and I really felt, let me show you what I looked at in real time. Okay, let's draw it. Draw lightning 2. Okay, so you have thrust down, retrace, thrust down, retrace, thrust down, retrace, thrust. So this is actually your swing, right? Your identified swing on the left. All right, so I expected this to hit its head before that, so I went ahead and fired the trade when it hit predictor. But notice how I was able to keep in that trade by simply using the rules that we teach. Now, it could have taken me out, and if it would have, hey, I would have waited for it to break the other way or to do a phantom, okay, because we haven't had a phantom just yet. But notice how that worked, okay? Let's play it forward and see what we can get. We just bounced right off support. If that doesn't take this out, we're going to get a higher low. See how that support's holding? That's definitely getting a higher low so far. What's our trade? Anybody? Let's look to the left to trade the right. Where have they not checked yet? Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. They checked here. They haven't checked here. Okay, and they haven't checked here. Looking to the left to trade the right. So this is my little sweet spot if they do come back up and check this. Everybody see how I drew that? Because what are we looking at now? Well, we're not breaking down, so we're not checking resistance like that. We're more or less checking on the left-hand side of the chart, and that would be where the traders' algorithms would kick in. They'll either hit a short here or a short here. So that's where I'm going to draw that little box right there. Now, since this is actually not breaking down as of yet, I'm going to be a little cautious on taking a short unless it, well, here's the way I do it. I'll show you. It would have to break support. It would have to pull back and kiss, just like we did all morning so far, and then it would have to head down. Or it would have to kiss one of these areas that hadn't checked yet and stay to the downside. Here's your lightning 3, okay? Let's see, Lewis says, I'm a little bit confused when you say it didn't check that. Which are you talking about? See, it hadn't checked this over here yet. Okay, notice how, you're coming down, and they're getting a higher low so far. So what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to check their swings they hadn't checked yet. See how it just did it? There it is. It just checked it. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that aggressively at line 6. Okay, and I'm going to take 2 more if it happens to go below line 6 again. That one went a little bit deeper. It went all, look at that, it checked lightning 3 instead. Let's go ahead and there we went below line 6. And since this is actually starting to get higher lows and higher highs, I'm only going to try to go to mid-band. See, a phantom trade, if you're going to take profit early on a phantom trade, always try to take it at mid-band. Now, if you want to leave a runner running, you can. But does everybody see what's happening here on this chart? They're really trying to just stay in a range. Let's see if we can get another trade. Look to the left to trade the right. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. So support's right here, right? And support is right here. Okay, so let's see if we can get anything as long as it stays in this range. Now notice that we got a beautiful phantom trade. Okay, so let's see if we can get any kind of a bounce. Now when they're sideways like this and they've got this background like this, pretty much if you hit support, to give an example, like on these lightning 3s, let's see if it does that at all. I didn't trade this after we closed the room, but let's just see if we can get something. Not breaking up yet. There's a little support bounce right there. Now, if you were to take this trade right here, does everybody see you have a low, a high, a higher low, but it didn't close yet, so this didn't change green? You could actually do this. If it does happen to go, you could actually see if you could get that little lightning trade. See if we can get something. Still a higher low. That's support. Broke it, but didn't take it out. Let's see if we can get a higher low again. There's your lightning break right there. Notice it didn't get a higher low, but it always looks left also. And if it breaks it again, but see, it's already green. But if it breaks it again, I'll go ahead and add one. If it breaks this right here with a close. Nope. Yep. We'll put a nice tight stop. Okay? Does everybody see how I did that right there? Now that was actually based on support because you're in a range. And when you're in a range, you've got to see your lightning. Now keep in mind that you don't have to trade the aggressive way like I was showing you there. You can trade more conservative, but keep in mind if you go more conservative, you're going to have to go for less ticks. In other words, if you're green, stay green. Okay? Because to give an example like on here, see, we've got 3 contracts still left on. Where would you put your stop on here? You have a high, low, lower high barely. So I'd probably put my stop just right underneath there. exit on close. Okay, see how it's kissing? Will it take it? It's fine if it does, because we already got profit. Okay, everybody see that? There's your swing right there. Let's see, I put my cursor on a pivot and hit Shift or Control Alt and my lightning won't display. Jay, on your question, lightning will display if what you do, first off, make sure that you've got our template. If you go to indicators, go down to lightning, like lightning 1 to give an example, make sure it's on Alt, lightning 2 is on Shift, lightning 3 is on Control, and lightning 4 is on backspace. And then you should just be able to hold in like Alt. This one's Shift, so I'll hold in Shift, and then left click your mouse. Left click again and it'll draw it again. Left click again, it'll take it away. Okay, like that. Now remember I was saying we were getting higher lows and everything, but what are we in the afternoon most times? You're in just some melange chop. And by the way, I'd probably buy that again right there, actually. See how it just kissed on top of my line, but we're too late now. We're way too late. Okay, let's look at this. This is not my favorite time of day to trade, but let's just draw on it because I can see what's going on. You basically got resistance up here. You got support down here. You can clearly see they're in that range. Okay, so if they were to come up and kiss this little area right here and not change the back or the mid band, would you short it? Anybody? Anybody at all? And you should, because that is actually a what? Short background. It's a short mid band. So let's see if we can get something. We're in a range. Everybody see why I did that? It actually just went up to my line and hit resistance. Then you try to get down to here. Where would you put your stop? Anybody? Lightning. Turn on PM and you're out. Now this one actually, it looks like just barely took me out. That's okay. We'll see if we can get another trade. Box it in at mid band. You're long. Everybody see that? Box in at mid band, you're long. Now I'm running this pretty fast, so wow. ABC type trade. Well, it looks like we're looking for a phantom, doesn't it? There's your phantom, long. Take some coin. Power meters off again, so you're out. See if we can get something else. Phantom again, you're long. Everybody see that? Let me slow that down just real quick. I'm trying to do this where we don't have to click this because I had that going like 300 times. But does everybody see how you can see this in real time, what you're looking for? Okay. Because if you break this mid band, to give an example, okay, and you box it in, for instance, and it doesn't start going up, well, they're going to come closer to like this phantom. But why did they come to this phantom to begin with? Anybody? If you look to the left to trade the right, you'll see why. See your thrust, your retrace, your big thrust. Where had they not checked over here? Right there. Everybody see how you can see those exact entries on your chart? Always look to the left and you're going to see where they'll do a thrust, a pullback. And if they do like a huge move and they haven't checked it yet, they're going to check it. You can just absolutely count on it. They're going to check the trade. And if they check the trade like that, then isn't that the perfect place to get in? and plus that's a phantom trade. Now, if you weren't in this trade like right now, does anybody see a trade setting up? Like so. I'll just do a touch plus 2. And I'll do a touch at the bottom also, and we'll do our bottom right here on this swing. So we're going to bring it right down like that. See how that swings right there? And so we're going to either get a touch out or we're going to get a touch at the bottom. Looks like it's going to be out. Not yet. There it is. Now looking to the left to trade the right. Does everybody see where this is also going to do its thing, although it may be later? Anybody? I'll draw the lines. All right, so got a lot of resistance right here, so draw your line. If they do this, and if they do this, and if they break above this, and they do this, and this, wouldn't those be two trades to look for? Let's see if anything like that happened. This actually started going back up, so we're longs. There was your kiss. Anybody think, is that a trade right there? Absolutely it is. Look at it kiss that line. See how the first time it didn't kiss it? It just missed it. See there? But could you take that trade there? Absolutely you still could. Because it kissed resistance, pulled back into like line 6, and you could take that. That was a riskier trade. But look how that one was perfect. What does everybody think about this way of trading? Can you see the next trade at all? Because I already see it. Anybody? See that big thrust up? Unless they decide to pop up here, they're going to check that. Because, see, they popped up, they pulled back, and then they shot up out of it. All right? Let's see if we can. I'll even try that one if you want. Let's see if we can get it. Everybody see that right there? That's the way they do. It's just absolutely the way you can see trades in real time on your charts by just simply using this method right here. And we draw on our charts every single day, and we get these trades like that. It looks like this is almost the end of the day now. It's getting really, really close. Yeah, it actually is the end of the day. I just looked at my timer. 3:37, 3:38. So you'd be basically closing out of the trade, right? Notice how we drew those lines on that chart ahead of time. Thrust, retrace. It did it. Boom, off it went. Always look to the left to trade the right, and you will see your trades. Now, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, then look for the lightning 3 type pullbacks, because they do that also. Notice that these, if you draw lightning 3 on this chart, you'll clearly see it. Let me just draw it. Everybody see these where you can draw your lines on your chart? Draw your line there because it's already, and then look what happens. See there, kissed it perfectly. Kisses it perfectly. When will this be recorded? It is recorded, Robert S., on your question. Now, what I like to personally use, and we're running over by about 4 minutes, but I'll just explain a couple more things. What I like to personally use to get in a trade, and you notice that we did get almost stopped out of one of them today, but by using our method of exit on close, a wicked candle, you know, if it would have closed above it, I would have closed it out. But when it wicked it, then I put my stop there with exit on close. It wicked it again, you move your stop. Now keep in mind that sometimes you're going to get stopped out even then, but what you're trying to do is trying to stay with the actual traders that are pushing those bars, because exit on close makes a world of difference. Now, if you want to just wait around strictly for this trade right here to happen on a continual basis, you'll see it time and time again. And I'll guarantee you, if you'd learn to take this trade. All right. If you took line 1 that I called on Friday, it did a little scalp, took you out, right, with lightning. All right. But look over here, phantom trade. Let's say you did 3 contracts. That's $150. All right. You did 3 contracts here. That might have been $100, let's just say. Now you look for another phantom. You don't even do the mid-band. You just look for a phantom. There's a phantom, 10 ticks. There's another $150. All right. Another phantom right here. If you boxed it, another $150. See the color of the mid-band? Phantom trade, another, might not have gotten 150 on that, but that was a phantom and I would have taken it. So that was probably 7 or 8 ticks maybe. Now you're green, you're looking for a phantom again. There's your phantom. Looking for phantom again, see there? What I usually look for is if they do this line 2, phantom, and they give you, and they don't take out these tops over here and ratchet up, they'll usually do this real phantom, which is between line 1 and 2, instead of right at between 2 and 1. You see what I mean? In other words, what they'll do is if they were to hit phantom at the 2 here and ratchet up above here, then you won't get this phantom. But this is an A, B, C. That's all they did on Lightning 3. Okay? And then if it changes again, you're looking for another phantom. That's a phantom. Now, what I like to also do when I'm trading like this is when I draw my lines on my chart, if they get within a tick or 2 of that line, I'll fire that trade. Okay, because I don't like to get in when it breaks a swing, or I'm not going to box it in like this. You know, that's ludicrous. But what if you did this instead? You boxed it in, you know, for instance, if it went right to your line, you just take the trade. If you took a trade at line 1 and put your stop at line 0, you'd literally have a 6 or 7 tick stop. Because when these are heading up, they do not take out this bottom line. You'll see it time and time again where that bottom 0 holds. 0 holds, 0 holds, 0 holds, 0 holds. It's even holding now. Okay? All right. So everybody learn to see that, and I think you'll make a huge difference. Let's see, Paul, if you had not jumped in the trade at or around 940 and just boxed, would 1733 have been your entry? At what time? 940? 940. Let me look at that one real quick. You're talking about this one right here. This one right here. If you would have boxed it, well, basically, if you were, you know, it's easy to see in hindsight where you'd box this, right? Pardon me. It's easy to see that, but what you got to look for is in real time. See, I see a high candle, okay, right? Basically, in other words, if I start getting stair stepping, let's just watch it and see. You know, like, could you put your trade right there, for instance, and would you have been fired? You wouldn't have been fired till here. So basically what I did, and this was a good box, there's no question about that. That was a good box, and that's more of a conservative way to trade it. Okay, but what I did in real time showing y'all though, was I expected at that time for this to actually hold. See that swing? That's definitely an identified swing. I expected that to hold if this was going to head down. And so I actually shorted it right there. I felt some heat on it. Okay, but I didn't feel the heat to where it took me out, because what I did is I put my stop it wicked again, so I put my stop. See how it didn't take it out? Put my stop again, and then it finally did roll over. And what you can do on a deal like that, if you're really trying to get like the predictor, to give an example, because this to me was a perfect spot for that trade right in through here, because I felt that it was going to roll there, and that candle closed down, so we grabbed it. We did feel about 7-8 ticks of heat on that one. Now, boxing this, yes, definitely would have been better. Conservative, though. But then you got to look at these trades over here, though. For instance, if you were looking at this in real time, let's just take all this off just real quick, and I'm almost through. Let's say that you were looking at this trade right here, all right? And if you're an aggressive trader, you've already drawn on your chart, might even be using sniper, okay? To me, this trade, basically, you had candle down, candle up, candle down. So I'd probably put my box something like that right here if I was going to box it, being a little bit more aggressive. And it closed out of the box right there. Now keep in mind, you could have actually redone your box when this did the candle up, candle down, candle up again. When it broke this line, you'd be in the same one. But you would have felt some heat too. I would have actually just grabbed the trade just literally right there the second I saw it hit that line. You'll notice that they bounce there too. It gives you kind of an insight as to where to take it, because they'll usually bounce that bar pretty quick when they hit that support level. Okay? Original stop, I don't really use 15 ticks as much, Minaj. Now, keep in mind, like on that particular trade that was at 940, we may have ended up at 15, I don't know. Let's see, if we got in right here on this bar, did we feel 15 ticks? I don't think so. Pretty much, I think I pretty much nailed it right here on that bar that went down. So let's say we were filled at 33.20, and our highest stop was at 410. No, we felt about, what is that, 9 ticks of heat? Yeah, 9 ticks of heat. Maybe 12 if you were using exit on close. But keep in mind that it should actually also either start getting higher highs or keep rolling over too. But if you boxed it too loose, let's say that you actually were watching this instead, and you said, okay, you're boxing it, and you box it like this, and then they wick it, so you rebox it, and then you're in on that bar right there. How much did you actually get? Let's see here. If you got filled at 32.40, did you ever get even a scalp on that trade? And the answer is no. So that was a better trade, actually, the way I did it, than that one with breaking that box. Now, another way some of our people do it is if it goes to mid-band and then, goes back below it, just fire the trade, because you'll usually get those 10 ticks when you do it that way. But always diagnose your charts and look to the left to trade the right and see where it should hit its head. Because, by diagnosing this, I felt it should hit its head right in this area right here. Remember, I had the line drawn. So see this area right here? So when it didn't hit its head there and went up a little higher, it basically hit its head at this one that it hadn't, but it had already checked it. See, thrust, retrace, thrust. It had technically checked that area. But it did check it again, and it does that. And that's fine, but we still stayed in that trade. That trade did work out for us, though, remember? We got a little scalp on it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And be sure to learn to draw on your charts like that. Look to the left to trade the right. And you're going to see trades that you've literally never seen before. A lot of people have said it just opened up their eyes to see it. I can even show you the next trade they're going to have. Where does anybody think it's going to be? Now, you've already had this one, right? What about that one? What about later on, Monday, for this? It thrusts up. It might thrust up 40 ticks. You don't know. You could still take it if it gets a thrust and a pullback. but I'll bet you at some time it's going to pull back. I'll leave the box on the chart even, as a matter of fact. And I'll bet you that's going to be a sweet spot for a trade when it busts up, pulls back, kisses, and takes off again. Okay, we'll see everybody on Monday morning. Thanks for coming. Did I miss any questions? Let me look. Let's see. Available for members to review? No problem, just in the next few minutes. Let's see. Good. Yeah, Toby says, I know this may seem a little crazy, but this is more or less how you get in and out of trades when you're calling in the room. Absolutely. All right, I think I got everything else. If anybody missed any questions, just Skype me or email me. I'll be happy to answer it and even tell the room on Monday. Okay? We'll see everybody on Monday. Sorry it ran late. Have a happy Labor Day, right? We all like to have our Labor Day grilling and all that kind of stuff. All right, thanks everyone.